Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello and welcome. Today we will spotlight an innovation shaping the future of cybersecurity. We'll speak with the winners of SIH 2025 who have developed a conversational SIEM assistant that leverages natural language processing to simplify investigations and automate threat reporting. Join us as we explore how this solution can transform complex security operations into faster, smarter, and more intuitive processes. Welcome to the show, guys. How are you doing?
We are doing fine, sir. How are you?
Okay, great. So to begin with, let's get to know something about you. Tell us about you and your team.
Good morning, everyone. Myself, Parnika Patil. I am in the third year of KK Wagh Engineering Education and Research Institute, Nashik, from Kumbhakshetra, Nashik. My team's name is Sahasransh. My team includes Pranav Prajapati, here he is, and also Aryan Rai, Ketan Thorat, Avishkar, and Anush Deshmukh as well. So we were a team of 6, mentored by Professor Priya Rakipema, and we won Smart India Hackathon 2025 under the problem statement 25173, which was under software category. So the problem statement was conversational SIEM assistant, which was NLP powered, which was given by ISRO and under the Ministry of Department of Space.
Okay, can you tell us a little more about the problem itself? Can you elaborate on the problem statement so that we can understand what exactly is the problem that we're talking about here?
Our security analysts always detect threats using 4 kinds of language, that is EQL, KQL, DSL, and a combine of EQL and DSL. So to perform any security analysis on Elastic or Wazoo, which are 2 platforms used by ISRO, they need to write some complex queries. So to automate this thing, we used LLM from India to write those queries by itself and bring the data from Elastic and Wazoo. This helps our security analysts to detect threats faster and block IPs which are malicious from other countries.
Okay, before we go any further, let me try to understand if there are any current scenarios or solutions that are available for this, or this is a novel one. Like, how do you equate this?
So this solution has been tried to solve before, but due to limitations on infrastructure and data, it was not provisioned earlier. With our with assistance with ISRO organization, we were able to get the scenarios. We were able to get different use cases and test cases using which we were finally able to solve the problem.
Okay, now let's try to understand the solution of you in totality, like the entire flow of it, how it works, including the tech stack that you might have used. So tell us all about that.
So for tech stack, we used Python and large language models, which are latest generational models right now. We used server models, which are from India. So our team was allowed only to use open source model. So let's understand the flow. If there is an IP that is continuously attacking my systems from China, but it attacks in a certain pattern. So suppose I have, so the IP logs activity at specific time and attacks my system. So the security analyst can see these logs on platforms like Elastic and Wazoo. So in Elastic and Wazoo, you can continuously see the logs and see from which country or which state they are coming from. So if any IP or any network which is continuously hitting my network and trying to do some malicious activity, we can spot it from there. But there's a gap. When I need to do this analysis, I need to write some complex queries on Elastic, which is EQL. And to write this Elastic query language, we need special experts that gets the job done. And this is not someone who can do it manually or by learning in 2 or 5 days. So these experts need to write certain set of queries, and after an hour or 2 hours or even days, they finally find that which IP is malicious, or which network is trying to connect from some VPN or trying to perform any uh, security or vulnerable activities in our network. So now, the pain for the security analyst is he needs to write these queries every day and understand what's happening in the network. So we solve this problem by creating a layer between Elastic and the analyst. So analyst can just write in natural language that what are the IPs which seem malicious. Then my LLM will go to Elastic and run certain set of queries by itself, and finally bring some set of IPs or any kind of activity which is unethical.
So what happened was the experts, the cyber experts, they had to write complex queries, right? So whenever they had to write complex queries, it took very much time. And whenever an attack had been made or whenever malicious activity was being detected, and we needed to solve that. So first of all, first they need to write queries, then they would see the activities, then they would find the pattern between that, and then they would take actions by documenting it. What we developed that it acts as a middle layer between SIEM systems and the user, which helps them to conversationally retrieve data. That, for example, I can just type that what are the malicious logs or what are the malicious attacks which are being logged or recorded in the past 5 days. That automatically gives me only the records of the past 5 days, and our system or our dashboard, we can say, that generates reports and dashboards too. So whenever you have the analyst need to just write a query in natural language, they the our middleware queries it or converts it into complex queries and then retrieves the data. It also gives a proper documented PDF or report which they can refer and then act as a solution or make a solution to that. So that saves a lot of time, because it took very much time in ISRO or for that matter in any organization.
Yes.
Okay.
So the process is to diagnose, and we do it faster using AI.
Right.
Okay, great. It seems a lot of hard work, a lot of thought has gone into this. So, what are the any external elements that you might have, made use of or taken help from? For example, any cybersecurity experts or any particular kind of a research work. So, what all went into it in terms of, having some external help?
So the first step when we approach this problem or when we approach the problem itself, so our first work was to find existing solutions, read research papers about it. So we referred standard papers from IEEE, Springer. So we got to know what are the frameworks used, what has been done about this problem previously, and why it hasn't been implemented or deployed. After all this research work, we came to the conclusion that many approaches were being tried. But due to lack of infrastructure, this whole product was not fully yet developed, or there were reasons why it wasn't deployed. So when we started working on that, we also tried various approaches. But then we took help of our mentors, cyber security experts from ISRO. That is, we were guided by Rohit Tyagi sir, then Chitrak sir as well, and they were very supportive to us, and yes, so everyone helped us regarding, and we were also told to use open source tools as well.
Okay. So, what happened at the SIH? What was the experience there when you took it, the solution there? The experts there, the mentors and the judges, they would have had their own kind of, remarks to this. So, what kind of remarks were they? Were there any, positive or negative comments, as in they wanted certain kind of changes to happen or things like that? So, what all did went there in that SIH competition itself?
We were quite aware of what happens in those 36 hours at the grand finale. But this time the scenario was different, because this time the problem statement itself was challenging, as well as we were the team. So we developed a team which had expertise to solve that. But whenever you go to grand finale, that there is a set of challenges and experience that awaits you. So our experience was there are 3 rounds of judging. So when the judging started, so traditionally what happens is from our past experience, you have done some of the work, that you explain the problem statement and you explain the solution to it. But this time in ESTO, the experience was quite exhilarating because all the mentors, they were quite well versed and they were quite experts in their field. So it wasn't that we were not prepared, but we were constantly improving and we were told to improve our solution constantly. And they would in each round we were given new challenges and new things to solve. And then in the next round, the judges used to say, okay, this is done now, next challenge, this is done now, next challenge.
Yes, I remember they came to the first round and we were quite confident that we will impress them with our first round solution. But they had so many things in their mind and expected a lot from us. And we were finally able to deliver that whole product after multiple judging and mentoring rounds. I remember one of the mentors sat with me from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. explaining what are the challenges faced by him so I can empathize better and create a better solution for him.
Right. And talking about the positives and negatives, of course, there were 3 rounds, and many a times, like regardless of rounds, also mentors visited us, they guided us, they kept us motivated. That do this, how can you improve your approach? So they were quite good as well, but they would also hammer us because I believe that if they wouldn't have done that, we wouldn't have worked with much better force. So yes.
Yeah, so I can understand that probably the bar this time was much higher, right?
Right.
So what
Right.
made you click? What was your winning proposition? Why do you think you were able to score above the other contestants in your league? And what made you win this title then, in that case?
So we had open source software which we used, and we created whole tech stack by our own. We hosted the whole application on VMs, and also we created those cyber attacks by our own. So one of our friend or colleague was a cyber security expert. So we actually need to replicate the data so that we can show that okay, our queries are working, right? So we should have some data in hand on which we can query. So our first challenge was to actually simulate some kind of cyber attacks and then run queries on them and see that our system is working. So this was a very impressive point for our mentors, that we are not just solving the problem, but we are recreating it so we can empathize better with them. Next was we used Indian open source model from Servam. So Servam just announced their 30B and 105B LLM models, and we used those in our solution. And last was that we directly generated reports and PDFs which they can share further with the analyst who can diagnose and solve this problem as fast as possible. And our solution was deployed. So I remember giving the judge link at the final solution, and he ran it on his own phone and laptop.
Great.
That was
So
impressive for them.
yeah, of course, that all sounds very methodical, and I think it's very creative of you to deploy those cyber attacks. Get that simulation done. That would have really made a lot of difference, because the real-time data that you were able to fetch from that would have been very, very useful for judging rounds, definitely. So great. So now tell me, where do you go from here? So you have achieved a big feat in your life in terms of creating a solution for a very big organization. So similar stuff would you like to replicate in your career further? I mean, how do you think this is going to help you and take you at the next level?
So when we created the solution for ISRO, after creating that or after winning Smart India Hackathon, we also did some research that the same system, how we can deploy or how it can be of national use, right? So from our research, we got to know that it can be used in the banking sector for RBIs because they need to analyze cyber attacks as well. We can also give it to DRDO and Defense Ministry as well, and Ministry of Telecommunications. So we are trying to approach them as well.
And sir, we are invited to work at ISRO's research center for June to August, so we can actually deploy our solution there. So our future plan is to make this solution work finally for ISRO on site, and we will be working there for 3 months so we can actually get our solution working.
That's a wonderful news. I think that's going to be a great opportunity for you to hone your skills further in that kind of an environment. That's wonderful. Congratulations on that as well, because that's, I think, a big step for you for your career. And not only that, but I'm sure with all that infra and knowledge around you, you'll be able to not only upgrade your talent, but you'll be able to come out with much more and much robust solutions further for all the other kind of cybersecurity threats, or maybe something similar in that field. So great. We congratulate you once again on not only winning the SIH, but achieving so much even after that. And we'll be looking forward to your innovations further, which are going to help the cybersecurity scenario of the country and help the society in general. Thank you so much for joining today, and all the best for your future endeavors. Thank you so much for sparing time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was great talking to you, sir.
Same here. The pleasure is ours. Thanks. Innovations like these would redefine how we can approach cybersecurity, making investigations more intuitive and threat reporting faster and more efficient. Stay tuned for more such inspiring stories of technology and innovation. Until next time, goodbye and stay secure.